Hello Capricorn, thank you very much for tuning into your love read. For the main part of the read I'm using Witch's Tarot by Ellen Dugan. For supportive oracle cards, Queen of the Moon Oracle by Stacey DeMarco. Alright, already shuffled. We're going to do relationship first, single second. There's nothing on the ceiling. I don't know. Every now and then I get some... moving on. Alright, Capricorn. In relationships. The connection here, 1, 2. There's this little thing here too. You got darkness. Now darkness and void are different because you have void here coming up with your partner. Darkness is telling me things are going well. Darkness is like you don't see things in the darkness, but I keep, like, this one almost looks like a new moon if you look at the side of it. I know it's darkness, but it feels like that new moon energy, especially when you see a little bit on that tree. And I feel like things are starting to take shape for you. I'm not really feeling any negativity really here, but I do seem like, it seems like you're pushing things forward, you're forming them now. It's not in full light. In other words, it's not fully formed. I don't feel like you've fully defined where this is going. Is that real for Capricorn? Like, you have a general idea of where you're going, but you're putting it together. Like, this is where I want to go. This is kind of how I want to do it. But you're redefining and you're shaping up the edges for what you really want to do. Kind of like you've decided you want to buy a house. And that's the direction, and you're kind of like, where do I want it? What type do I want? How much do I want to spend on it? Do I want it to be a fixer-upper? Do I want it to be mostly together? Does it need to be 1 floor, 2 floors, 3 floors? Like, you're starting to form the rest of that at this point. Okay, that makes more sense to me. Because, like, you have the base, like, this is what I want. I want to own a house. Now you're sharpening up the edges about what you want to define it as. Okay. Now, you got the Two of Wands here, like, again, and I'm getting it with the darkness, kind of like you've got the base idea, like, I want a house. Now you're going through the rest of it. That's the Two of Wands. I feel like that's more of that energy. And now, these two cards come in together. Two of Cups. Like, your partner is a part of this. Whatever it is, your partner's very much a part of it with you. And you're happy to have them there. But the Page of Cups as your challenge card is just kind of assuming that they're on board with where you want to go. I kind of feel that because it's kind of like when I'm looking at the Page of Cups, it makes me feel like a really, like a child that's like really easy to get along with, you know. One that just kind of like, you know, they're normal, but, you know, it's not like they're not a lot of stress. They have their moments, but they're not that bad. And, like, you're like, okay, we got to get going. We got to get in the car. We got to go. And it's kind of like you're saying, we're going to go to McDonald's. And they're like, okay. And you just kind of take them. They just kind of go. They're your kid. Not to be weird, but, you know, in this analogy. So the reason this is a challenge card is just assuming it's going to kind of go that way. It's kind of like you feel like your partner's going to kind of follow in that respect. Like they want to go where you want to go. They're on board with the whole situation. You're like, well, it's time to go. Let's go. And they're going to be like, okay, let's go. I don't know if that's making it weird the way I'm giving that analogy, but that's the type of energy. Just kind of like you're assuming they want to do what you want to do. And when you're ready to go, they're just going like, okay, let's go. And they're just going to kind of go along with it. But that's your challenge card. That's your challenge card saying, this is not really how this is happening. Their challenge card, though, just to be fair, is the Six of Pentacles. If you're feeling this way, if this is hitting with you, they're allowing you to feel this way. They're going along, they're agreeing, they're being very agreeable, but they're not realizing what this is setting up. Because you're expecting, like, because they're so agreeable, that they literally, when you want to go forward, they'll be ready to go forward, that they actually do want to do what you want to do. I feel like when I'm seeing the Six of Pentacles in their challenge position, they're being a little bit too giving. They're being a little bit too agreeable. Because what's really happening here for them is the Nine of Swords. So if we're going to use the house analogy again, and you're like, this is what I want, this is where I'm going to go. They're saying, yeah, it'd be great to own a house. Yeah, that's cool. And they're like, yeah, let's do that. Let's start working through that. Let's start planning it. First of all, I think what they're first thinking is it's not going to happen in 2 seconds. They have time to work through this. This is just the preliminary stages. No need to get upset right yet. But what I'm getting here is there's other stresses. It's kind of like they're already going to that thought about like, oh, how much is that going to cost? How much work is that going to create? Like all this, they're looking at the stressful parts, like how much money, how much work, how much effort. What's this going to do to my life? Am I going to have to drive farther to work? Is this farther or closer to the people I want to be closer to or farther from? You know, for example, family. Sometimes you like being closer. Sometimes you don't want to be so close, depending on the member probably. But you know what I mean? They're looking at a lot of these things. They're like, oh, there's so much to think about. I feel like they're stressed about it. And they're not telling you, though. That's a problem. Clearly, that's a problem. Now, why is this happening, though? Why are they being this way? 4 of Wands, 4 of Swords. They do trust what you want to do. They trust in you. They have a very strong sense of like, well, my Capricorn partner, when they put together a plan, they know what they're doing. But they're also looking at you like you're not afraid to work. And you're not afraid to put in a lot of work. If there's a challenge to be met, you will meet that challenge. You'll go right for it. Where there's a little 4 of Swords here, or a little 9 of Swords action going on, is like, I feel like your partner's looking at it like you go towards challenges that you can handle. And you also go towards challenges you believe your partner can handle. And I feel like they're kind of like, a little to the chagrin, is like, you're correct, they can handle them. But sometimes these challenges, they don't want to handle. In other words, if it takes a bit of money, a bit of self-sacrifice, a bit more travel, they can't handle that. Doesn't mean they want to. That's the kicker. You know what they can handle. You know what they're capable of. But they're also looking at this like, yeah, my partner's right. They won't give me any more than I can handle. We'll be okay. Doesn't mean I want to do that, though. Doesn't mean I want that bill, that extra bill. Doesn't mean I want to spend my weekends for the next 2 years working on this house. Doesn't mean I want to live this close to that family member or this far away from that family member. It doesn't mean that. Even though I can work around it, yes, doesn't mean I want to. And I'm getting like their fears are kind of compounding on them, just to be fair. They got the Void here. They're just feeling like, I don't feel a lot of empowerment with them for some reason. Okay, I see where that's going. It doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel like they're communicating honestly. But why? Like, I'm still wanting to more of that why. Now, you're still going forward. I feel like we're going to piece some more of this together in a second, but you've got the Justice card and the Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords is in your action line. Justice card is the spiritual aspect of the situation. Like, you know what you want, you know it's right, you know it's good for both of you. This isn't something just good for you, it's good for both of you. And that's easily how you're seeing it. They're not showing any type of resistance, though, so if they're having some type of aversion to this, they really need to bring that forward. But I'm getting here, you push forward with the Knight of Swords, kind of saying, like, you know, let's go, for example, if it's the house thing, let's go look at some of these houses over in this area. I want to get a look at, like, a couple different types of houses, and I want to walk through them so I can get a feel about what I really want here, what's really best for us. And it isn't us feeling. But you're also kind of like, I want to see what I'm willing to deal with, and then see what's best for us based on what I'm willing to deal with. Because you want to, I see like it's kind of like I want to explore some options to see what I got to work with here, and I want to see how much this is going to cost, what type of work would have to be done, and like do I like the 3-story? Do I like 1-story? Do I want something in between? What works for us? And Justice is here with the Knight of Swords, like you're pushing this forward. And it's on level. It's all good. You're trying to bring more of this into light. You're trying to bring the plan more into fruition. You're like putting more pieces together for the plan. This still feels like it's in the planning stage, but there's a lot going into it. I think that's Isn't that right for Capricorn anyway? Like, they put together quite the good plan. Like, there's a lot of effort putting the plan together to begin with before it even starts, and then continuing on. That's why Capricorns have success, right? I think that's how that goes. Why my brain is spinning on that right now, I don't know. Now, the Chariot here on your partner's side is kind of like they're seeing their opportunity. Okay, that's good. They do have a major arcana. You have a minor arcana with the Knight of Swords. You're saying, let's go see some of these type of houses, some of those type of houses in this area. They're seeing their opportunity to, like, if they don't like the area you're choosing or there's a better area they'd like to try, this is them saying, can we look at also houses in this area? And can we also look at this type of house as well? I don't feel like this is a big thing for you. You're like, sure, we can look at some houses there too. I don't see why not. We can look at those other types of houses. Sure, why not? Not like we're making a decision to move into one. You want to look at them? Why not? Why not? So they're moving forward here. All right, this is good. I like this. They're seeming to get a little stronger here. They're putting forward what they would like. I don't see you having a problem with it. Like, sure, we can look at some houses over there too. Why not? We could look at that type of house too. Why not? I don't see you having any type of aversion to it. Because it's just looking. Who cares? And you're like, sure, I can maybe add this into the plan. Maybe there's something I didn't think about before. Maybe there's something extra that I would enjoy. Let's take a look. Why not? Okay. I feel like you're very open to it. This energy feels very conducive. Now, this is what's helping them. You'll notice it's the Two of Swords, but it's graduating into the path here, which is telling me this is where they start coming forward about the details and what's bothering them and what's not bothering them. I do feel like, especially if you pull it out of them a little more, you might hear little things like, oh, this is a good area, but it's so far from this, or it's so far from that. This is a nice house, but it's going to cost this much to fix this, or this much to afford this. Or, you know, it's going to take this much time and these many weekends. We're going to have to work together to make this what we want it to be. It's coming forward. And the more you pull this information forward, you're going to really see the points of contention they have. Which I feel like once you see the point of contention and pull it forward and you're like, okay, I feel like you can work it out with them and smooth out this stress they're having. You can smooth it out. Like, for example, if maybe they don't want to live that far from their mom. Something like that. You know, like, and if maybe you roll your eyes and you're like, well, I do. That's rotten. But, you know, maybe you're like, yeah, but I'm okay with it. But you're like, okay, well, maybe we'll look for something a little bit closer to them. So you can be there to do what you need to do to be closer to them. Okay, that's fine. Or maybe they're a little stressed about the money aspect a little bit. And they're kind of like, well, I understand we can afford this, but I really like to still have a little money weekly left aside so we can go and enjoy a dinner every now and then, or I can get some of my whatever I want to do every now and then without feeling like, oh, I should save, oh, I gotta save for the house or this or whatever it is. And I feel like you're like, okay, I see what you're saying. Let me act that in. Let me factor that in. And I feel like they're pushing forward also, because it's going to take this X amount of time. So you're like, okay, let me factor that in. Let me factor that in. I feel like this is where it gets better. And I feel like it's even better if you're seeing it for what it is and you're pulling that out of them. You're like, okay, what are the points of contention? You simply just need to know what the problems are. You're cool with it. Just tell me what it is. Okay, let me see what I can work with. Let me negotiate through this with you. Okay, let's do that. You got what makes things better for you is the Six of Cups with the blossoming. Six of Cups is usually like a history card, like past influences, things like that. And I'm feeling like there's a lot here where you're looking at this, it's not just about what has come before, but realizing like you're setting up something that's going to last quite the long time. And it's kind of like another version of this card that I'm used to anyway. Is it's saying you're locking into something that's it's going to be around for a good while. There's going to be a point in the future where you look back and be like, well, this is where we formed this situation. This is where we formed what we have now. And that's what this card is saying. Looking at this, like, at one point, this will be the history that everything was born from, that everything grew from. And it's blossoming from this moment. You're like, all right, let me pull this together because we're starting to form something. Like, there's a very strong foundation from this. But this is acknowledging, like, we're starting to create something that I'm going to stick with for quite the long time. And we're both going to be in this for quite the long time. And you're acknowledging this, and you're realizing my partner has to be as happy as I am. Because, for example, if finances are going to be a little bit strained, doable, but strained for maybe a good decade, because for some of you I'm feeling that. I've seen that happen with other people. You have to think about, I can do that. I can live with that. And I feel like you wouldn't do that to yourself if you couldn't, for one. And you're like, and you might look at it like, yeah, it's a decade, but once that decade is passed, we'll have this great thing. But then you have to add in, like, how is my partner going to feel? Is this going to cause a lot of stress for them? Is this going to cause a lot of fights for us because they get really over it? They're not happy and they get really stressed out and we have problems. Six of Cups is also coming in with that. Like, the choices we're making, I can live with them for X amount of time. Can my partner? Or are we going to have some problems? That's really what's helping you. And that might be the big point of this reading. If you weren't thinking that already, you handling what you're choosing, that's fine. And the fact that your partner can't physically do it, that's one thing. But is it going to put them in a stressful place where you're going to have a lot of arguments and there could be an implosion of this whole situation if they really just hit a point where they can't take it anymore and they're just, they lose it. And you know, the Six of Cups is like, you know what they can and can't handle and how it will go. Make sure you're on point with it. Think about how things like this have gone in the past. You'll know exactly what to do. Just make sure it's in the forefront that you realize, wait a minute, I know they can do that, but as time keeps going, what type of stress does that put on a relationship? What type of stress does it put on them? I think we're good. Good. All right, let's do Capricorn in singles. Capricorn in single? Yeah. Single Capricorns. Let's do single Capricorns. When I'm thinking single Capricorns, I'm immediately getting the information of where'd you go? Where did you go? All right, so let's see what that's going to do. That's the first thing that's popping in my head. Where did you go? Single Capricorns. That fits. It's not funny, but it's funny. I hate when I do that. I'm so sorry. Sometimes I see things pop in and I'm just like, that's a little ironic. Where did you go? Yep, we're gonna address that. It makes me laugh. It's not funny, but it's funny. Sorry. Somebody has love for you. And they did the Seven of Swords in the past. They did take an exit. Temporary exit. Some of them maybe not for the best reasons. Some of them may have given you the wrong reason. Yeah, okay. Okay. We only get two, or it's still, okay. They're making a big point of this. Big point, because they're giving the Seven of Swords, and they're putting the release on this. But when I'm seeing the environment energy, it's the Queen of Cups, which is a good card, yes, but with every card, you gotta like really pay attention to what it wants to say in the situation. The Queen is very good at keeping her mouth shut if she feels necessary. If she's like, this information isn't helping anybody. Telling Uncle Bob that Aunt Jill wants him dead in the ditch, probably not gonna make Thanksgiving dinner all the best situation. So we'll just keep that to ourselves that she's gonna inform him. You know, stuff like that. Why that analogy? I have no idea. But that's how it flew out. So this person, whether it was on the level on why or not, they took an exit. They released themselves from this. It could have been a stress thing. It could have been something else going on. Maybe they were seeing somebody else at the same time. If that was the case, they did not let you know, but instead of making it an issue, they just kind of cut ties with you, and they went with the other person or something like that. Don't get caught up in it, because I feel like this is something where somebody learned a harsh lesson. Because this person has a lot of feelings, and as time has passed, they realize how much they care about you, and it really bothers them that they walked away because they needed release from the situation. They felt like it wasn't going right, it wasn't correct, they needed a break. I feel like when they walked away, they maybe thought that that was it, that was just done. They weren't going to come back to it, they didn't want to face it. But as time has passed, it's caused a lot of thought like you got the Ace of Swords at the top. They've thought about you a lot. And they've looked back at that decision and they're like, you know what, maybe this is not a person I really want to walk away from. Maybe this is somebody I'd really like to have in my life. I'd like to be stronger with this person. But the Ace of Swords is at the top of this whole reading. So I'm getting you have also thought about this person. And you have a history with this person. You have some type of history with this person. This is not somebody new to your life. Clearly, if they walked away from you once, they're not new. They're not new to your life. I really needed to say that apparently. Now, we're coming forward. I am seeing like a rough card here, but how is it adding in is the question. We're seeing Karma, which is the Judgment card in most decks, and we've got the Star card. So it's like Judgment, not just in your favor, but in their favor as well. And the Star card, kind of like there's hope here. Now, why is this happening? Not only has there been thought, you've both been thinking about this, but what I'm getting is like the air is getting cleared. I feel like you're going to find out whatever it was in the past. I feel like it's coming forward quite clear. What happened? Because you got the Five of Wands. I don't really feel you arguing with this person. But maybe somebody has an axe to grind, or maybe just somebody wants to put forth their 2 cents. Some way, one way or another, I feel like the truth is coming forward, and there's like a point of contention with this. The Five of Wands is kind of like it's an aggressive, controversial card here. It's kind of like, ooh, somebody wants to say something, and somebody's putting information right out there. So whatever the reason is this person walked away, I don't feel like they're telling you. I feel like somebody else is making it quite obvious why. And it doesn't mean they're like secretly telling you. I just feel like it's flat out there. Like, this is what happened, this is why, and that's how it is. Now, when I'm feeling this, I'm getting like all debts are settled type feel with the Karma. All debts are settled, and there's new hope coming from this situation. Kind of like the past and the mistakes of the past are kind of, they've been rectified. If there was an emotional debt here, I feel like when you see what's happened to this person, you're just not holding any animosity. I don't feel you holding any animosity. I feel like if you really were, this wouldn't have a snowball's chance in Hades. So there's that. I just don't, I feel like emotional debts are settled. I don't feel like there's any problem here. But I'm getting the Star card right with it telling me you're kind of like, you know what, maybe I should talk to this person. Maybe. It's just rolling around your head. Maybe. Possibly. And you got this thought that's coming in with the Six of Cups. Kind of like you got the Magician in your thoughts with the Six of Cups where you're standing, kind of like, you know what, I think this person knows the value I hold for them. And you know what, maybe I do want to talk to them. Maybe there's something here to be created. They still seem to be in your thoughts. And you're just kind of like, you know what, maybe I'll bring this forward. Is this you? No. Okay, this is them. I do feel like the point of this is you're open. You're open to this. And your thoughts are the Magician. Like, you're considering making a move. You're considering causing a conversation, or maybe this could have possibility. Considering it. I'm not saying anything is actually happening or you're creating it. You're considering it. This is in your thoughts. It's all good. It's all good. They come toward you, though, because they think about you too, and they do have very strong feelings for you. They know you know. They know you know. Whatever it is they were holding from you in the past, cat's been let out of the bag, and they know you know. They're actually, I feel them approaching you to make sure everything's okay, because you still matter to them. And I feel like it bothers them that you might see them in a less than favorable light. That's really why they're coming forward to you. Because they don't want you to look at them in a negative way. And they're feeling the only way I can make sure or have any hope of that not being the case is to come towards you. They're advancing towards you, the Capricorn. And they want to talk things out a little bit. They just want to make sure the air is really clear. I don't feel like you're holding any animosity. Again, if you were, I don't think this would have a chance. I really don't. So they're coming towards you, and it's the Knight of Wands, which is telling me the way it feels is it just feels like a random moment. It feels kind of like you're not expecting anything to come from this, but the wisdom that's coming with it is like it's settling things, it's settling the emotions. You're both knowing where you stand with each other. I even get from this moment, you're both acknowledging how you feel. For some of you, just to be fair, it might be through body language, like you're smiling a lot or something like that. They know that you like them still. Vice versa, like if you're not literally saying it flat out, your body language is saying a lot, both of you. And I feel like you're both feeling really good. You're both feeling really good that the past is settled. I don't see you holding anything against this person. I really don't. I keep saying that. And the Knight of Cups comes in next. Like, I feel like a romance will rekindle here. And from there, it's up to you where this goes. But you'll be in full control is what I'm also getting, for whatever that means. Because this person doesn't want to make the same mistake twice. They know how much you mean to them. I feel like they're as far as you'll let it go is as far as they'll go. As far as they'll take it. As far as you'll let it go is as far as they'll take it. Okay. And that's where that's ending. That's it's like a cliff drop off. Just came right to that. Like, oh, by the way, there's love. Like, just how we... Yeah, you guys love each other. It's just where it's going is where I feel like it's going. Okay, I think we're good. All right, I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email. jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.